Good morning, everyone. Today I'm back with the lecture sessions, live lecture sessions for science class 8. I hope students are there. Please show your presence by commenting your name. So yesterday we studied about force, its definition, effects, and balanced and unbalanced forces. Today we'll continue our discussion in this chapter force by discussing about the two broader categories of force, and they are namely contact forces and non-contact forces. So let us first discuss about what are contact forces. So look at this water bottle which is in my hand presently. If I want to squeeze this bottle, that means if I want to change the shape of this bottle, what I need to do? I need to press this bottle. As you can see, when I am pressing this bottle, the shape of this bottle will change. The shape of this bottle is going to change. Now, in order to change the shape of the bottle, I used my muscular force, the force which I generated from the muscles of my hand, and there required was a physical contact. Can you just tell me, can I just make this change in the shape of this bottle without making in contact between my hand and the bottle? No, I can't. I have to touch it. I have to touch the bottle. Without touching, I can't change its shape. So it requires a physical contact, and you guessed it right, muscular force which I used right now is a kind of contact force. Another kind of contact force is friction. When you roll a ball on the floor, it rolls for some time, and after some time it first slows down and then comes to rest. So why it is coming to rest? Because there is some force acting on it, and that too in the opposite direction of the motion. This force comes into play when there is relative motion between two surfaces. When the ball is rolling on the floor, this force is coming in contact between the ball and the surface, and it is acting in the opposite direction of motion, and this force only is known as friction. Here friction is a force which cannot come in contact until and unless you don't have a physical contact between two surfaces. So when we are talking about contact forces, these are the forces which require a physical contact between the two bodies in interaction in order to have that force, in order to execute the force. Now let us define what is contact force. Contact forces are the forces which require a physical contact for their execution. These are the forces which require a physical contact for their execution. Now there are various examples of contact forces. I gave you two just now. The first example of contact force was muscular force. When you are pushing an object, pulling an object, stretching something, compressing something, by the use of your hands or legs, you are using a muscular force. And this muscular force is an example of contact force because you are making a physical contact with an object. You are interacting physically with the object. Now, the next example is friction. Friction is a force which comes into contact, which comes into play when there is a physical contact between two bodies and when they are in relative motion. When they are in relative motion. Now, here you need to understand one thing. Friction will be taught to you more elaborately in the next chapter, so you need not worry. Just learn it as an example of contact force. Another contact force which is not given in your book is tension. टेंशन यू अंडरस्टैंड, TENSION टेंशन. ये वो टेंशन नहीं है जो अभी आपको है पढ़ाई के बारे में. ये टेंशन कुछ और है. जैसे यू सी ये एक वायर दिख रहा है आपको, ठीक है, ये भी लूज है ना. अब देखो इस वायर को अगर मैं नीचे से स्ट्रेच करता हूँ, नीचे से खींच रहा हूँ मैं, कोई लोड है नीचे से, अभी वायर का हाल क्या हो गया, अभी स्ट्रेटन कैसे हो गया. ये स्ट्रेटन इसीलिए हुआ क्योंकि एक और फोर्स है जो लोड जो नीचे की तरफ एक्ट कर रहा है उसके ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन में ही एक्ट करता है. मेरी बात समझ में आ रही है. मतलब अगर मैं नीचे से इसको लोड अप्लाई करूं जो कि डाउनवर्ड डायरेक्शन में एक्ट करता है, वो फोर्स के ठीक ऑपोजिट इसी वायर में एक जो ऐसा वायर एक फोर्स है जो ठीक उसके ऑपोजिट एक्ट करता है और उस फोर्स को बोलते हैं टेंशन. वो हर किसी ऑब्जेक्ट में आता है. ये एक रिएक्शन फोर्स है. और until and unless you don't have a physical contact, टेंशन won't come into play. अब अगर ये रोप होता, नीचे में लोड होता, इसके ऊपर दो फोर्सेस लगे हैं, तो एक फोर्स तो लोड है which is acting downwards. The next force which is balancing the load is the tension which is acting upwards. So now a question for you, those who are watching me now, I have a question for you. If this is a string acted upon by two forces, one is the load, one is the tension. Load is acting in the downward direction, tension is acting in the upward direction. Can you tell me these two forces, do they constitute a balanced force or an unbalanced force? Please comment your answer now. Do the load and the tension, are these two forces making an unbalanced force or a balanced force? Please comment your answers now. I'm waiting for your answers. Siddharth, are you watching? Comment your answer. Load which is acting downward and the tension which is acting upward on this string, are they making a balanced force or an unbalanced force? Okay, I think you are finding it difficult to answer. I'm just answering it. As this string which is being acted upon by the two forces, that is the load and the tension, as it is not moving, it is at rest. These two forces, load and the tension, they are making balanced force. That means the resultant is 0. So the first part, that is the contact force, these are the forces which require a physical contact for their execution. Very good, Shiv Shankar. Very good. Shivu is still following physics, huh? Very good. Okay, fine. So you see here. So balanced forces are the forces. Sorry, not balanced forces. Contact forces are the forces which require a physical contact between the bodies interacting with each other. Contact forces are the forces which requires a physical contact in order to execute. These are the forces, the contact forces are the forces which require a physical contact between them for their proper execution, and the examples are tension, friction, muscular force. Now get back to the next classification, that is non-contact force. That is the non-contact force. So what are non-contact forces? If contact forces requires a physical contact for their execution, it is just the opposite of that. Non-contact forces do not require a physical contact for their execution. Understood? Okay. Now you see, if this is a pen, this is a pen. If I am going to leave it, it's going to fall down. The pen is falling down on its own. Is there any force acting on it? See, whenever there is a change in the state from either from rest to motion or motion to rest, there ought to be a force. There ought to be a force. And from where that force is coming? Because there is no contact between the pen and anything else other than my hand, and I'm not throwing this pen down, I'm just leaving it. And why this pen is falling down? This is due to the gravitational force of attraction provided by the earth. Earth attracts every body towards its center with a force of attraction known as gravity, or to be precise, gravitational force. This gravitational force does not require any physical contact in order to execute it. Hence, we call it a non-contact force or forces at a distance. One more interesting fact about gravitational force is it is thoroughly attractive in nature. Whenever gravitational force is between two bodies, it is always going to be attractive in nature. It is always there to be attractive in nature. You will be studying more about gravitational force in class 9. Till date, you should remember gravitational force as an example of non-contact force. There are more non-contact forces to be studied. The next non-contact force that we are going to learn now is electrostatic force. Electrostatic force. Now, what is an electrostatic force? Electrostatic forces is the force of attraction or repulsion present between charged bodies. I hope you all have done this experiment of rubbing a pen or a comb upon your hair and making it attract bits of paper. Have you done it? Most of you have done it, even I have done it. Now, how is it possible? It is possible because when you rub this pen on your hairs, the pen gets charged. It gets static electricity, it gets charged, and it then starts attracting bits of paper. Same thing happens when you take your hand near the TV screen. The hairs, the body hairs, they get attracted towards the body screen, so TV screen. And this is due to electrostatic force of attraction. So the force of attraction or the repulsion present between two charged bodies is known as electrostatic force, and as electrostatic force do not require any physical contact between the two bodies, it is an example of non-contact force. Electrostatic force can be attractive in nature as well as repulsive. It is attractive when the two bodies between whom the electrostatic force is there. The two bodies have unlike charges on them. That is, if there is a positively charged body and a negatively charged body, they will have a force of attraction between them because their nature of charges is unlike. Okay, if you have a positively charged body and a negatively charged body, they are going to be attraction between them because they have unlike charges. Whereas if you are having two like charged bodies, say you have two negatively charged bodies or you have two positively charged bodies, there is going to be force of repulsion between them. So positive charged body are going to repel each other. Negative charged bodies are going to repel each other, whereas positive charged body and negative charged body are going to attract each other. I hope you have understood. So we have studied about now two non-contact forces. The first one was gravitational force. The second one was electrostatic force. Okay. Now the third type of non-contact force, that is magnetic force. The third type of non-contact force is magnetic force. This magnetic force lies between either two magnets or between a magnet and a magnetic substance. Now what are magnetic substances? These are the substances which get attracted towards a magnet. These are the substances which get attracted towards a magnet. So magnetic substances are like iron, cobalt, nickel. Okay, these are all magnetic substances. So magnetic force can also be attractive or repulsive. It is attractive when two opposite poles of magnet face each other. You all know that magnets are provided with two poles, one north pole and one south pole. When two opposite poles of a magnet face each other, there is force of attraction. When two similar poles of magnet face each other, there is repulsion. So if you are having north pole and north pole, they are going to be repulsion. If you are having south pole and south pole, there will be repulsion. If you are going to have north pole and south pole, there will be attraction. So similar poles repel, unlike poles attract without any physical contact, and that's what makes it a non-contact force. So let's recapitulate whatever we have studied today. We have to recapitulate it. So today we started with the broader classification of force on the basis of physical contact between the two bodies in interaction. So the two major categories of forces were, first one was contact forces. These were the forces which required a physical contact for their execution. And the type of forces were, the examples of forces were muscular force, friction, tension. Next we studied about non-contact forces. These were the forces which do not require any physical contact for their execution, and their examples were gravitation. Their example was, first was gravitational force, electrostatic force or electric force, or magnetic force. So till now we have studied about this. I think only few of our students are watching till now. I would like you, Siddharth, please send some links to your friends so that they can also join the live session and can ask the question. Siddharth, if you have any questions, please ask in the comment box now. Please comment your questions, whatever you have been taught. If you are having any doubt within it, then please ask your questions. I am waiting. I'll be clarifying your doubts. Otherwise, we'll move ahead. Is it only Siddharth or some others are also watching from class 8? Okay, fine. Fine. Okay, I'm moving ahead. If you are not having any doubts, I'm just moving ahead. So up to this part, we have a discussion regarding force, and today I'll end this chapter with a slight hint of pressure. I'll make you understand what pressure is. Okay? I just request all of you, those who are watching, if you are having any pen like this with you, please hold it in your hand. Please hold it in your hand. If you are having a pen, okay, please hold this a pen like this in your hands. Okay. Now we are going to do an experiment, and let us try to understand what pressure could do, or what pressure is. You see, this pen, what you have to do is, first you take this blunt end, the back end of this pen, and press it on your palm. Firmly just press it, okay? Firmly. Okay? Firmly press it on your hand. Now, remove it. Same pen, turn it around. See this sharp tip, and press it firmly. I'm telling it firmly. Okay? See? Can you feel the difference? Can you feel the difference? Yes. It's paining right now. Do you know what causes this pain? The physical quantity responsible for this pain is known as pressure. The physical quantity which made you feel this pain is pressure. Okay? So we are going to talk about this physical quantity known as pressure. If you are having any notepads, please note it down. Pressure. So pressure is defined as force per unit area. Pressure is defined as force per unit area. Or in some books it is also mentioned as thrust, which is a better definition, I would say. Thrust per unit area. Thrust per unit area. Now, what is the difference between force and thrust? Thrust, as you can see, thrust is the force which is applied perpendicularly onto a surface. It needs to act normally, perpendicularly onto a surface. See, if I am going to apply the force like this or this onto this surface, it won't be known as thrust. The force should be applied perpendicularly. That means it should make an angle 90 degree with the surface. Then only it will be termed as thrust. So the thrust acting per unit area. Thrust acting per unit area is known as pressure. Thrust acting per unit area is known as pressure. So from this we can conclude that pressure depends on basically two factors. Pressure basically depends on two factors, that is thrust, you can call it force, and area. As you write, pressure is equals to thrust by area. So when you increase the thrust, the value of thrust, when you increase the value of force, pressure increases. Higher the thrust, higher will be the pressure. Lower the thrust, lower will be the pressure. You can feel it yourself. Take this pen, blunt end, press it lightly. You won't feel a lot of impact on your hand. The pressure will be less. Whereas when you just press, and you are making a lot of effort, in applying more effort, the pressure will be more. So higher the effort, higher the thrust, higher becomes the pressure. Higher the thrust, higher becomes the pressure. So we could say that pressure varies directly with the thrust. Pressure exerted varies directly with the thrust. So the next thing, very important thing I would like to tell you, the very important thing next is going to come is the dependence of area of cross section or area of contact on pressure. So what is the difference between these two surfaces? Here the blunt end of the pen is there, here the sharp end of the pen is there. What is the difference between the two? Area of contact, that is the only difference. Area of contact is the only difference. So when you are taking a greater area of contact and applying some effort, applying some thrust, you are getting less pressure. You are getting less pressure. So higher the area of contact, lesser the pressure. बड़ा एरिया होगा, pressure घट जाएगा. On the other hand, when you are having a smaller area of contact, when you are having a smaller area of contact, the pressure will increase for the same thrust. For the same thrust. So pressure increases with decrease in area of contact. Pressure increases with decrease in area of contact, whereas pressure decreases with increase in area of contact. So we can say that pressure varies inversely. Pressure varies inversely with area of contact. Area of contact. बहुत सारे अच्छे examples हैं. Very nice examples are there. So you see, one example is for the porters. Porters समझते हैं ना, कूली ट्रेन स्टेशंस में होते हैं, रेलवे स्टेशंस में होते हैं. What they do, they make a round piece of cloth and they put it on their head before putting any load onto their head. Why do they go for that? That round piece of cloth which they are going to put on their head, it increases the area of contact. It increases the area of contact and thereby the pressure exerted by the load onto their head decreases. It comes down. So it becomes more easier for them to carry the load. You people carry school bags. The school bags you carry have wider straps. The straps which you have in your school bags are wider, are made wider. Why they are made wider? So as to increase the area of contact. They are made wider to increase the area of contact. By increase the area of contact, there is less pressure on your shoulders and it becomes easier for you to carry the school bag. Like that, tanks, battle tanks. Have you ever heard of it? Battle tanks. Battle tanks, bulldozers, they are provided with caterpillar tracks. थोड़ा सा कॉन्सेप्ट ना ये पता नहीं होता बहुत जनों को. कैटरपिलर ट्रैक होता क्या है? तो चक्के होते हैं बुलडोजर्स में, टैंक्स में, उसके ऊपर एक पट्टी की तरह चीज़ लगी होती है, देखा होगा आपने, एक पट्टी की तरह चीज़ लगी होती है, उसको बोलते हैं कैटरपिलर ट्रैक. ओके, दैट इज नोन एज कैटरपिलर ट्रैक. व्हाई वी गो फॉर अ कैटरपिलर ट्रैक? टैंक में क्या ज़रूरत है? वो तो ऐसे टफ गाड़ी है काफ़ी ज़्यादा. बट द टैंक्स आर रिक्वायर्ड टू मूव ऑन डेजर्ट्स, ऑन लूज सैंड्स, बिकॉज जहाँ पर एकदम पक्की सड़कें हो, परफेक्ट ग्राउंड हो, वहाँ पर तो वॉर करने के लिए कोई जाएगा नहीं. वॉर तो कहीं पर भी हो सकती है. सो एज टू मेक इट एबल टू मूव ऑन लूज ग्राउंड्स, लूज सॉइल और सैंड, इट इज प्रोवाइडेड, this thing is provided with caterpillar tracks. What caterpillar tracks do? Caterpillar tracks increase the area of contact. And what happens when we increase the area of contact? When we increase the area of contact, pressure decreases. and it becomes very easy for us to move the tank or the bulldozer onto the surface. There are many more applications. One more application I would like to say you, that when we the snowshoes थोड़े से अलग होते हैं जनरल शूज से. आपने टेनिस रैकेट अगर देखा होगा ना, टेनिस रैकेट के शेप के होते हैं वो, बड़े बड़े से. क्यों? सेम चीज, आप जब एरिया ऑफ कांटेक्ट को बढ़ा दोगे तो प्रेशर घट जाएगा. स्नो तो लूज होता है ना, तो स्नो के ऊपर अगर आप शार्प एजेस वाले शूज पहन के जाओगे तो आपके पैर तो धंस जाएंगे उसमें. कैसे आप चलोगे आगे. सो दिस स्नो शूज आर प्रोवाइडेड विद अ ग्रेटर एरिया ऑफ कॉन्टैक्ट सो दैट यू कैन इजीली मूव ऑन लूज स्नो. सिमिलरली, अब तक तो हमने एग्जाम्पल दिया इस बात का कि कैसे करके हम एरिया को बढ़ा के प्रेशर को घटा सके, है ना. हम उसका भी ऑपोजिट करेंगे. हम कैसे एरिया को जानबूझ के घटाते हैं कि प्रेशर बढ़ जाए. एरिया को जानबूझ के हम घटा देते हैं. हाउ इज दैट पॉसिबल? जैसे नाइफ है ना, इट इज मच इजियर टू कट वेजिटेबल्स विद अ शार्प नाइफ. नाइफ जितना शार्प होगा उतना इजी बन जाता है सब्जी काटना. ऐसा क्यों? ऐसा इसीलिए अ शार्प नाइफ प्रोवाइड्स अस विद लोअर एरिया ऑफ कॉन्टैक्ट, वेरी स्मॉलर एरिया ऑफ कॉन्टैक्ट. स्मॉलर एरिया ऑफ कॉन्टैक्ट प्रोवाइड्स ग्रेटर प्रेशर. अभी आप कम भी एफर्ट डालो तो प्रेशर ज्यादा मिलेगा बिकॉज एरिया ऑफ कॉन्टैक्ट कम है. So that is what makes it easier for cutting vegetables. That is what it makes cutting vegetables easier with a sharper knife. Nails, you see, nails are provided with a sharper end. Thumb pins, they are provided with a sharper end. It makes it easier for penetrating into the wall. When you hammer it, keeping the sharper end onto the wall, it is much easier for us to make the nail penetrate into the wall by very less effort. Okay, this is very important. Why? Because when you decrease the pressure, when you decrease the area of contact, pressure increases. So this is how we use the factors affecting pressure, okay, to use it for our own purpose. Now I have some questions which I'm going to send in your WhatsApp very soon after this lecture session. But again, I'm going to urge you all to please come and be a part of this live session because they are very useful. They're going to be very useful for you because live interaction cannot be replaced with recorded videos. Whatever doubts you are having, you can ask it through the comments. You can interact with me. So please come in large numbers. Ask your friends from class 8 to flock in to my page, see the live videos, ask your questions, queries. It will be much easier for you people to learn. It will be much happening for me to teach. It will give me a real life class experience as well. So today we have studied about pressure. Tomorrow same time at 8 a.m. only I'll take another class where I'll be teaching you about hydrostatic pressure. Okay, I'll be teaching you about hydrostatic pressure, that is pressure exerted by a liquid at rest present in a container. That will be a part of tomorrow's video lecture. So I'm going to share this video right now, okay, in your WhatsApp group. Ask your friends to join me as in bigger numbers so that we can have a better discussion. Thank you for today. Please complete your studies. Please be engaged. Stay home. Stay safe.